What useless fact would you like to share? Michael Jackson's hair caught fire at the exact middle of his life, to the day. I remember reading this on a similar thread some years ago. Taser is an acronym of Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. The original definition of a factoid is an assumption or speculation that is reported and repeated so often that it becomes accepted as fact. But the word has been used so much as a small piece of trivia that it has now been accepted as such. So the definition of a factoid is, in itself, a factoid. Apparently, it is explicitly illegal in the UK to use a machine gun to kill a hedgehog. Which means someone did it. The seabird, booby, is named such after the Spanish word bobo, referring to an idiot. Boobas would be the only seabird to land on sailing ships, thus sailors took advantage of this and started setting traps for the birds to catch and eat them. Want to know what the traps were called? There's a town in Alaska named Chicken. It was supposed to be named Ptarmigan, but the townspeople couldn't figure out how to spell it so they went with chicken instead. The color orange was named after the fruit, not the other way around. Mealworms eat styrofoam. Edit. Fellas, I'm so sorry I screwed up big time. Thanks to you Echo Akuma I realized it's mealworms not earthworms. West Virginia was originally going to be named Kanoha. Short list of words that contain the word meow in them. Meows meowed meowing homeowner. Vikings fuse crushed animal bones with iron to fuse the spirit of the animal in the weapon, but this actually just made a predecessor to steel. The Washington Monument is capped with aluminum because at the time it was the most precious metal in the market. Edit. This is where I had found it, and all of Sam Keen's books are great if you'd like more fun science stories. H more precious than gold HTML. A second is called a second because it is the second division of the hour by 60, the first division being a minute. Human thigh bones are stronger than concrete. The grumbling sound your stomach makes particularly when you're hungry is called borborygmus. It's actually gas moving through the bowels. Edit. Words. We lose between 50 and 100 strands of hair a day. There is a town called Pee Creek in Ohio. There are these creatures called cyclostomata that just die right after they lose their virginity. I mean, it's just sad. The Visigoths brought the artichoke to the Iberian Peninsula. UVA rays age your skin. UVB rays burn your skin. A group of turkeys is called a gang. Spaghetti is actually plural. It's 2 spaghetti and 1 spaghetto. Same goes for espresso, cappuccino etc. Whales ejaculate 70 gallons into the ocean. The word California originated through Spanish, but was from Arabic in a story with Moorish legends. It was from the word caliphate. Most printer paper is 25% limestone by weight. Pigeons, outside of their usual cooing, have 2 long-range calls. A 3-note woo woo woo, that is a bar of 5/4, 5 beats per measure, and a 5-note woo 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 comma that is a bar of 17/8, 8.5 beats per measure. There is a massive pothole at the intersection of Harrodsburg and Maine. Avoid it. Bird poop is green because it contains the bird's urine, which is also green. Penguins have sex with other dead penguins, even if it's just a severed head. After seeing the replies I want to delete this, but also Karen. The fax machine was invented before the telephone. The Phantom of the Opera has his iconic half mask so the audience could see more of the actor's performance. It was changed so late in the production that they'd already made the posters. That's why it shows a full mask on the posters. When you mimic a rooster crowing, they will consider you their mortal enemy for life and always attack you on sight. They will also try to show off their might by tapping their feet on the ground in quick succession, and do a little sideways dance with one wing almost touching the ground, with the back of the rooster in full display. Also, chickens only know very few words, which you can learn easily and use to talk with them. If you have 2 legs, you have more than the average amount of legs. Due to the shape of the North American elk's esophagus, even if it could speak, it could not pronounce the word lasagna. Every flight you have been on and will go on, there is always something not working. whether it be an armrest or a minor electrical system. The crew will know about it, but it's usually something minor, so there's no danger whatsoever. It's called the minimum equipment list. It varies depending on aircraft type. Those plastic bags of ramen. A serving size is half of the bag. I want to know who opens it, breaks it in half and puts the other half away for another time, and how do you split the seasoning pack in half? The water that they drink on the ice is reclaimed from all other water sources on the ship. They are drinking their own filtered piss, among other things. 4 years ago, my boss took his wife to see the Sister Act play. They got dinner before the show and he ordered the Southwest Quinoa Bowl. Most American car horns honk to the key of F. Ted Bundy and Jack Nicholson had very similar childhoods. Yet, one became a serial killer and the other became a famous actor. A good nature vs nurture argument, I suppose. Otters sleep holding hands so they don't drift apart. They also rape baby seals to death. GNU is a recursive acronym. GNU equals news, not Unix. The boy sitting next to me in English last week got in trouble for talking to ants. Hitler's first dog came to him when he was in the trenches during World War I. A small white Jack Russell Terrier, apparently the property of an English soldier, was chasing a rat and inadvertently jumped in the trenches where Hitler was stationed. Hitler caught the terrier and made the dog his own. He called him Fuchsel, meaning little fox. Thank you for the gold, friend, I appreciate it very much. If a polar bear and a grizzly bear mate, their offspring is called a pizzy bear. 2 cherry stones contain enough arsenic to kill you. Edit. Sorry, I must have worded this wrong. 2 or more crushed cherry pits can harm you. I apologize for worrying anyone. Braille was made because Napoleon wanted a way for his soldiers to communicate quietly without the use of vision or light, so one of his people made a version of Braille as a solution, but was scrapped and later simplified for blind people. Barcode scanners scan the white, not the black. Ohio is the only US state that doesn't share any letters with the word mackerel. Now you know. The shelf life of human blood is 42 days. Ducks have a corkscrew-shaped penis. A post with an active OP causes the brain to release more dopamine than a post without. Thanks, OP. The guy that started the anti-vaccine trend is no longer a medic. His diploma was revoked. Joker's gun in Smash Brothers is actually just a really big hitbox. Ichthyphalophobia is a morbid fear of seeing, thinking about or having an erect penis. The plural of hamburger is hamburgers. On average, 2 newborns are given to the wrong parent every day. NASA funded an experiment to give LSD to dolphins. The trainer jerked the dolphin off a multitude of times. Birds are dinosaurs, but they are not bird-hip dinosaurs. Obviously they have bird hips and they are dinosaurs, so they are bird-hip dinosaurs, but they are not bird-hip dinosaurs. They are lizard-hipped bird-hip dinosaurs. Tarantulas can swim. They can swim fast. The 170th biggest country in the world is called Sao Tome and Principe. Warning, you might die one day if you don't know this. A 7-pound clump of used kitty litter traveling at 90% of the speed of light would impact with the force of 85 megatons of TNT. Gary Oldman is 13 days younger than Gary Newman. So they're both liars. The dung beetle knows what to do when anyone gives him crap. Nearly 3% of ice in Antarctic glaciers is penguin urine. Sea otters rape and kill baby seals. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Dolphins engage in nasal sex. You can't choke an owl. It's my birthday today, I turn 19. For watercraft. United States, USS means United States ship. Britain, HMS means Her Majesty's ship. Italy, AM means that's my boat. If everyone on the planet joined hands to make a circle around the globe, approximately half would drown or be eaten by sharks. A word which changes meaning based on its capitalization is called a capitonym. Edit. For everyone saying that I got this from John Oliver, you're half right. I did see that episode and did use his Sherpa example, but I actually got the idea of posting it here from this video. Ducks are happy. The word fridge is short for refrigerator, but refrigerator doesn't have a D in it. Reading is just staring at a tree for hours and hallucinating. The average man shoots 1 to 2 teaspoons of cum per orgasm. During his life, he will come over 7,000 times, resulting in 14 gallons of cum, give or take a few drops. Each load contains approximately 7 calories, and each spurt whizzes through the air at around 28 miles per hour. I almost drowned at a pool at age 5, but was saved. 8 years later I saved a 5-year-old boy from drowning at the very same pool. The ancient Greeks proved that the world was a sphere-ish shape over 2,200 years ago, yet flat earth morons still haven't figured it out. Astronomer here. Maybe too late to this party, but magnetars are pretty amazing. They are neutron stars with huge magnetic fields millions of times stronger than any magnetic field we can create on Earth. If you went within 1,000 kilometers of one you would die because the electrons in your body would literally be ripped from their atoms due to the magnetic field. It's more fun to take a stance, stick with it, and go hard than it is to try to debate in good faith on the internet. Cows have 11 different blood types. If you add up all the numbers on the spinning wheel of a roulette table, you'll get 666. There is actually such thing as white crows. They are born with no melanin in their bodies, making them white. But you never see white crows, because due to their color they are most likely killed and eaten by their mothers when they are still in the nest. If they do somehow live to be an adult, they are shunned by other crows and live a lonely life. Arkansas and Kansas are spelled the same because they both derive from the same etymological root, a Sioux word meaning downriver dart. They are pronounced differently because Arkansans took the French pronunciation of the word and the Kansans took the Spanish pronunciation. Saturn has a hexagon above its north pole. You know how sometimes there isn't a word for something? That's called a lexical gap. Most easy example is there is no word for someone who isn't a virgin. The closest would be non-virgin, but it's not a word on its own, therefore it's a lexical gap. It takes roughly the same amount of effort to bite through a finger as it does to bite through a carrot. A group of baboons is called a congress. Peonies won't flower without having a significant amount of ants crawling over them. When buying plants for your home and garden there is a choice of annual or perennial. Annuals need to be replanted annually, while perennials are permanent and should come back every year. Isk dolphin penises are retractable and swivel around, often feeling like a hand. The brain named itself, the brain. Did you know a pig in France was executed by public hanging for the murder of a child? Polar bears are the only animal known to intentionally hunt humans. Mercury is 12 times sweeter than sugar. Ed, and Eddie was created on a dare. The average number of skeletons in human bodies is greater than 1. Vatican City actually has 2 popes per square kilometer. Seeing your friends struggling with these basic maths is hilarious. In the Korean War, Luxembourg sent its entire army of 44 men to fight. According to my Python code, if you tackle the 8 bosses of a Mega Man game in a random order, you'll have to defeat 5.97 bosses on average in order for all the remaining bosses to be weak to a weapon in your arsenal. Edit, I messed up. Turns out I don't know enough about Mega Man games. I assumed that the bosses could be arranged so their weaknesses formed a single 8 cycle, which isn't always the case, apparently. Cows are the largest deep ocean predator in the world. Humans grind up fish we catch into pellets and feed them to cows. Today is George Orwell's birthday. There are more potential iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. The Hass avocado, the most commonly grown avocado in the United States, was started by a man named Rudolph Hass. Rudolph was a postmaster from Milwaukee, Wisconsin who became so inspired by an ad in a magazine that showed avocado trees growing money, he decided to move out to California and begin growing avocados. As someone who lives in Milwaukee, I try to tell people whenever the opportunity arises. Minecraft pigs have nipples. The sun has existed 4.6 billion years. It takes 230 million years to orbit the Milky Way. That makes our sun in its own time about 20 years old. The sun is currently projected to die in 5 billion years, meaning its lifespan is 41.7 years old in its own time. Mandarin Chinese is the hardest language for English speakers to pick up, it being the most widely spoken native language. Adult cats don't actually meow at each other, just at people. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Sheep can't stop water entering through their anus and can drown because of it. Abraham Lincoln invented the Schaefer. A German submarine was sunk because of an overcomplicated toilet. Every time your DNA is replicated, part of the end is lost, but the end of a DNA strand has a nonsense part called its telomere. An enzyme replaces this end, but not efficiently enough for it to not start affecting it. This is what is believed to cause aging and part of the reason why cancer cells cannot die, since the enzyme is overactive in cancer cells.